So I was drawing these characters from Trailer Park Boys. I did Julian, I did Bubbles, I did Rob Wells, Ricky, and you know, I made some mistakes with Julian, not too much. Can you see that? Julian there, we did freaking Bubbles here, and Bubbles. We did Ricky, Rob Wells here. Can you just see that, or is it? I don't know. It's fucking late up there, getting on my nerves. No, we got a new mic. We got a new mic. This mic was actually donated to me last week. We had a guy who works in the independent film business like myself, and he told me, he said, Adam, why don't you go around and fucking ask people if they would donate equipment that they don't use equipment. And so I tried it, and guess what? We got a new microphone. And that's basically what had happened. So I guess the call out worked, and now we're gonna run with it. And what was it? This week I was watching YouTube, and I was watching a segment that Sarah Dunsworth did, and I was watching it. It was okay. Some of the stuff that she had stated about Trailer Park Boys was pretty well on the ball, I understand that. And but here's the thing, all shows run its course, and all shows, like everything else, comes to an end. And Trailer Park Boys is a show that got very lucky because when Mike Clattenburg decided to call her quits after their second movie, Countdown to Liquor Day, uh, I he basically canceled the show. Mike Clattenburg and Barry Dunn decided to call her quits, and they canceled the show. And I remember it was after a news clip I read. It was I think it was Rob Wells. He was basically saying how he wanted to continue on with the show if it was still available. And he basically said the show was unfortunately behind locked doors, nothing he could do. No, he had no authority at the time. And during that time, I remember, and I reached out to Mike Clattenburg, and I told Mike Clattenburg, I believe it was social media, it was Twitter, his Twitter account, I believe it was. Could have been his Facebook, because Mike Clattenburg is a guy. He's on Facebook and he's off Facebook. He cancels it off and on, and I had a conversation with him on social media, and I told Mike Clattenburg, this is a true story that I'm saying. So Mike Smith, Rob Wells, what's his name, J.P. Tremblay, all the cast of Trailer Park Boys. This is a true thing. What I'm telling you right here. I told Mike Clattenburg, and I said, hey, look, let's talk out of fairness. You don't want to do it. Barry Dunn doesn't want to do it. I said, here's the thing. Let's be fair about it. Rob Wells, the majority of the cast still want to do it. And I said, why don't you go up to Rob Wells, Mike Smith, J.P. Trombley, John Paul Trombley, whatever you want to call him, and ask them to make you an offer to buy the show? Because I said, Barry Dunn technically is the actual creator of Trailer Park Boys, but Mike Clattenburg just takes the credibility for it because Barry Dunn went on to play Ricky's father on the show, Ray. And I told Mike Clattenburg, not Barry Dunn. See, I know Barry Dunn's family on a personal level. I know them, good people. Actually, some of Barry Dunn's family came out to my grandmother's funeral back in January, and she was actually hit by my grandmother's passing quite strong because she was a big figure in the community when she passed. Uh, the family member of Barry Dunn, I guess she was in the church. She was crying hard. She was really hitting her hard, and my uncle, one of my family members, was talking to her off the side after when their funeral was done, and just saying, she couldn't go on any further. She didn't want to live. She wanted to leave the world her way because basically she was at a spot. It's a seniors complex or nothing at all because unfortunately, my grandmother reached a point that she she was no longer capable of looking after herself anymore. She's doing stuff which she can't be doing. She's not listening, so that's that. But when she passed on, yeah, Barry Dunn's family member that came out, I'm not going to mention her name, but she took my grandmother's passing quite strongly. She was deeply impacted by it. So we were talking to her off to the side and stuff, and but no, Barry Dunn is the actual creator of Trailer Park Boys, and I told Mike Clattenburg, go to Raw Wells, J.P. Trombley, and Mike Smith and make an offer. Say, look, you want to buy it, we want to continue with it. There's no point of keep something under locked doors if fans still want to see it, and if you don't want to continue with it, so let's just be fair, we'll make an offer. And that's basically how Raw Wells and J.P. Trombley and Mike Smith got the ownership of the show. That's how they got the copyright thing going, and that's basically how SwearNet got started. Technically, in a way, SwearNet, I was actually involved in that creation with my suggestion to Mike Clattenburg back in 2008, I believe it was, when they made their last movie. And that's basically how SwearNet came to be, and that's how you, the fans, still got to enjoy Trailer Park Boys. And now, in the segment, Sarah had mentioned in her YouTube segment, when I first seen it, see, YouTube is funny. You can have hardly any viewers, and suddenly all kinds of people will tune in. And YouTube is a thing that it's not at the national stage how we hope it to be. You could put a video on YouTube and nobody will watch it. If you take your YouTube video, if you post it, if you post it on a group, now you're going to get viewers. If you just put a video on YouTube thinking people are going to watch it, the odds are slim. And if they do, then I'm going to say, all right, how long was your video uploaded to YouTube before somebody actually watched it? That's my point. And that's basically, at the time, the YouTube video only had 97 viewers. And I checked it again for the second time, and it had like 111. You know, it is what it is. But in the video, Sarah had stated that when Corey Bowles and Michael Jackson, who played Corey and Trevor, quit the show, they created a lot of friction, a lot of disliking, I guess, of the community and with the cast. And I gotta say, I can't comment what the relation was with the cast because I wasn't on the set majority. I was on the set a couple times, just passing through, or that annoying guy on the tractor lawnmower during season one, which was me on the tractor. I didn't actually know that they were filming, so that was actually a thing that me and Barry Dunn's family talked with. They actually apologized for that, for not letting us know that they were going to be filming there the day when they were. There was no avoiding it. There was no avoiding that, none whatsoever. But yeah, but that was talked about. But which Sarah had stated that Corey Bowles and Michael Jackson had created friction after when they left the show, the community, and with the cast. I can't comment with them because I wasn't there. But I used to go to hockey games with Michael Jackson, who played Trevor on the Trailer Park Boys, with the Halifax Mooses at the. Back then, it was the Halifax Metro Center. Now it's Scotiabank Center. I found them all right. We got along all right. I didn't see nothing wrong with them. He seemed stable and all this stuff. But I was it after 2.5 years. I called her quits because I had stuff to do. And what was it? I wasn't spending a big pile of money looking at a bunch of kids playing hockey. Just put it that way. And that's basically what the Halifax Mooses is a bunch of kids, 16, 17 years old, playing hockey. And I just wasn't spending an excruciating pile of money on that. But I just recently wrapped up doing a stop motion video, which only fan episode. It was He-Man, and it was announced 2 weeks ago that voice actor and actor John Irwin had passed away at the age of 88. He's an actor that voiced the character He-Man. And when I did my He-Man fan episodes, which is doing pretty good, people actually told me, you know, Adam, you got that He-Man voice, not right on, but it's very close. And when you're doing it, it's sort of it fits the character where it's believable. You can do this stuff, and he passed away. And I was listening to a documentary on the actor who voiced the He-Man character, Skeletor. His name was Alan. I can't pronounce his last name, but he had stated, he said, I've been trying to get John Irwin to attend these He-Man fan conventions and these Comic Con conventions. But he basically told the fans when John Irwin retired from acting and voice acting, he really lived up to that word. He really retired. He said he moved into a retirement community. He made it clear he didn't want nothing to do with the spotlight. He wanted nothing to do with the lights, camera, action sort of thing. He said he just lived a normal life like anybody else would do, at a low profile, low key, and that's how he lived his life. Some of the seniors are living in a seniors complex, not realizing you got He-Man living next door to you. That's basically what happened. And I did a stop motion fan episode. It was episode 8. I'm going to do 11. Then I'm going to cancel it, move on to other things for the time being. But all the people asked me, said, Ed, when you're doing the stop motion fan episode with He-Man, he said, you got all these big props. You got Castle Grayskull. You got Snake Mountain. I said, that costs a lot. They go, yeah, it does. That's why I went to the computer and I printed off a paper backdrop and make it look like the real thing. And then I said, I'll show it to you right here. And here it is. This here is the actual paper drop I put on a big board. I'll tape it on. And when you move it up close, it looks like you're actually at the real thing when it's not. And that's what you're actually looking at. When you're watching my He-Man fan episodes, you're actually looking at a piece of paper that I printed off from the computer. And that's basically what it is. And if you're going to look at it even better, or I got all kinds of them. So if one gets ripped up or wrinkled up, I got another one. So that's basically what I did. And what was it? The Transformers movie came out. The Transformers 1. I got that. It was all right, but Peter Cullen, like John Irwin, retired from voice acting. He's not going to do the character Optimus Prime anymore. And what's that actor that he did that? Chris Helmsworth. He's mine. He's a great big actor. I barely even pay attention to him, in my opinion. See, when actors get gigs in Hollywood, sometimes the business goes through their heads. And only very few actors can playing hard to get what the production crews in Hollywood. Sometimes they'll film in Los Angeles, sometimes they'll film all over the world. Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, and Star Trek Discovery was filmed in Toronto. I was on the set of Star Trek back in 2011. It was in Toronto. I was walking through the downtown heart of Toronto. I walked behind the Scotiabank Arena. Back then it was the Air Canada Centre. And I remember walking down, and I walked up to the harbor, and I looked at this big boat, fishing boat. And a woman looked at me and said, it's a fishing boat, but it's a half-decent restaurant on top inside. That boat, that restaurant was in the episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds when they were filming in Toronto. Paul Wesley, which I don't think played William Shatner's character quite well, Captain Kirk. When I see Paul Wesley playing the character Captain Kirk on Star Trek Strange New Worlds, he reminds me of Jim Carrey. He got the pretty boy look, but he don't have that William Shatner persona. In spite of William Shatner turning 94 next month, in a couple weeks, William Shatner is a big actor to replace. He's hard. And over the years, when I seen Hollywood trying to recast and reboot Star Trek, seems like they're having a hard time finding an actor to replace William Shatner. Zachary Quinto and Ethan Peck, they played Spock quite well, but nowhere near like Leonard Nimoy. And they got that Simon Pegg and that Martin, whatever his name is, replacing Jimmy Doohan. He's doing an all right job, but when you If you're an actor, if you're casted to replace a famous actor who played that part, it's hard to replace the image of that actor that you're replacing. What was it? It was on YouTube. I was watching a documentary on John Wayne. He had stated that, now get this, John Wayne's grandchildren and his children are still fighting over their father's estate. John Wayne, they said he went to his house, they unlocked the door. They said it was just like walking inside of a time capsule. All these props, all these fake guns are all there. They said his big yacht that he had, that he used to go sailing with his friends, that was a Second World War veteran, a war vessel. They stated they sold that because it's no good to them. But they think, I believe it's a museum now. But they said, here we are in 2025. John Wayne's grandchildren and his kids are still fighting over the assets of John Wayne. And my uncle went to their set where they were filming one time. I believe it was True Grit. There's a place called Fort Smith. I believe it's in Boston. And my uncle drove down there on a vacation. There it was. He pulled up and he said, by God. He said the reality wasn't hitting him right. That John Wayne, like the world's greatest cowboy western actors, filmed right where he was at. And just he said the reality just wasn't setting in. It just wasn't gripping. But back to the Trailer Park Boys. They're a show that got lucky. It's a show that, could have died just as easily as it started off. Because usually, when you start off in the film industry, it doesn't work. You got to have money to put down. Like I said about the film tax credit in the past, a lot of people in the film industry think, oh, it's free money. Don't worry about it. I'll apply for it. No, you got to put money down for the government will help you out. At Trailer Park Boys, Barry Dunn, what's his name, Mike Clattenburg, and the other guy there, Mike Volpe, they had big money to put down. A lot more than I got to put down. Ah, but that's how the industry works. I mean, if I was to go in the professional level, which I could easily do, but I don't have the money to do it, I wouldn't go around the actor union. No offense to the actor members. It's just that the cost of having them is excruciating, and the talented actors that they have, I wouldn't be interested in them. And I don't really see myself investing big money for actors that I'm not interested in. I'm not saying that to offend them. I'm just saying I'm sitting off the side, scratching my head, and I'm not interested in any of the talent that's coming down the conveyor belt here. And my opinion, my advice to the Trailer Park Boys, Raw Wells, Mike Smith, and JP Trombley, to hell with going through the financial issues. Fuck the financial issues. You don't have to. You don't have to engage something what you shouldn't have to. I'm not saying that to offend the actor members, but I'm saying your show, unfortunately, is a thing in the past. It's a lot like Corner Gas trying to come back to TV. They got their what was it? Their short videos on their website, their internet website, swearing at. I don't tune into it. I just don't do it. I won't pay the internet to watch stuff on the internet. I just don't watch TV. I just don't watch. I watch more YouTube than I do the internet. Because the internet is on television. There's nothing there that you're interested in. All my shows are canceled. If I want to watch an episode of one of my TV shows, I got to slap a DVD into the DVD player. My shows were Knight Rider, The Fall Guy, The Dukes of Hazard. Me and the other guy made fun of the little hobo. We made fun of it one day because we came across a dog that was the same kind of. He looked just like the character of the dog, the little hobo. The German Shepherd had the great features to it, and I said, "Look at that! He's here to help us." But yeah, I mean, all my shows are canceled, so I don't really see myself tuning in to their website, SwearNet's website. I just like their show Unreasonable Rob. Like I had an actor that was on their show, they quit. I worked with him on another on a film set. What was it? Kill the K Cup. It was all right. I didn't really. Well, it was okay, but I thought it was Transformers the way it was going on. Was it? But anyways, it worked. And actually, there was a belt buckle here that I used, and I came on their set. He looked like something like when I came on the set, like the Ultimate Warrior, the Undertaker sort of thing. Came on the set with the big long hair, and I had the big belt buckle, and I had a big like a trench jacket, like something like what the Undertaker would wear, and I took it off because they basically said this ain't gonna fit right in the film. You look like I don't know the not the devil, but some sort of like a scary individual came out of nowhere from the paranormal universe, and I still had the belt buckle, and everybody liked it, and that was it there. And I wore that around, and today, if I put it on, you don't see it because my gut hides it all now. And but yeah, that's where I met him when the film set killed the K Cup, and he went with swearing Trailer Park Boys staying there swearing at, and he quit the show because he was not happy with the acting was it gigs that he was getting. He felt that he was more talented. He could do stuff elsewhere that they weren't giving him the opportunities. That's what I was looking for. He wasn't given the opportunities what he was looking for. And I remember looking to him. I said, "Well, first of all, who's your casting director?" And he mentioned Rob Wills. I said, "Well, I know Rob Wills. You don't live too far from me, and I got to say, instead of quitting and walking out, why don't you go talk to Rob Wills and you're in the office and just pull him aside or whatever you got here." I said, "I don't imagine all your a reasonable Rob segments are filmed at the SwearNet office in Dartmouth." He shook his head. "Yeah, well, it's just, so you got his phone number, his cell number, whatever." He goes, "Yeah, well, call him. Say, look, I want to make a meeting here. I want to talk to you about something." Just when you're in the office, tell him, look, I'm not happy with the opportunities I'm getting here, and which I had agreed with because I said I can understand because it makes no sense. All year taking part of this show, cursing and screaming and going on, which makes no sense. I said, I know what you're saying, but it's hard to do a part where you got these other actor who's playing these characters who's in your face steady cursing and swearing. I couldn't handle it, but I said, if you don't like what you see, pull Raw Wills off his side and just say, look, I don't want this. Or can you change the character around where I don't have to engage in stupidity anymore? So he came back, but uh, but I told him, I said, look, when I looked at these unreasonable Rob segments, I can't sit in front of the computer and look at it. I just can't. It don't make no sense. I can't do it. I'm not interested in it. I said, you guys got to come up with something that's going to interest the audience. I said, when I watch the Unreasonable Rob segment, I said, you know what I told him? You know what the truth is? It reminds me of when I went to the Transformers movie. It was called Rise of the Night. It was their second last movie that they did. I fell asleep in the movie theater, and I said, that's what they don't want to happen. They don't want their audience to get so tired, so bored, that they're sound asleep. They're actually snoring in the top row there. They're in La La Land, whatever they're doing. They're sound asleep, and that's what I was doing. When I woke up, it was half over, which I was grateful. And when the Transformers movie ended, the rise was it the last night or the rise of the night, how you call it? Uh, I couldn't wait for the movie to get over the end. That's what the producer doesn't want to happen. You don't want your audience falling asleep, and that's what happened with me. And I said, when I watched your segments on Reasonable Rob, I'm falling asleep in the audience. I can't tune in what's says everything what Trailer Park Boys does, cursing and swearing. All those elements are on their Reasonable Rob segments, which makes no sense. I said, why can't we have? Why couldn't they make like a mini sitcom, a show about family morals and stuff like that? Why we gotta curse and scream and go on? It makes no bloody sense. Hell, my cousin told me, he said, Adam, your entire life is a story to be told. I said, you got stories about Ozzy Osbourne, you got stories with Bret Hart, you got stories when you met William Shatner in Toronto. You got stories about Michael J. Fox, not Michael J. Fox, and Terry Fox when he stayed the night in Porter's Lake at the Porter's Lake Community Center. You had she told me you had and it's a true story, on Facebook. I'm connected with John Schneider from the TV show The Dukes of Hazzard, friends with him in real life. he did a Facebook video chat. We were doing music things, lessons with the guitar. He said, Adam, I want to tell you something. He goes, what's that? I go, what's that? I should say, he said, when you play the guitar, try not to look at the strings. And I couldn't at the time. I was like, doing my thing, looking down at the thing, can't look, no, can't do it right. He said, Adam, I want to tell you something. He said, it's all in the head. You think you can't do it, but guess what? You can do it. Just try it. And that's how I learned how to play the guitar without looking at the strings. John Schneider actually did a Facebook video chat with me, like we're doing here. And that's how we interacted. And a few months later, he invited me to come out to his remake movie of Smoking the Bandit. And then he did another show, remake show of the Dukes of Hazzard called Christmas Cars. I was actually supposed to be in that show. I had no passport to get down to Louisiana. He wanted me to come down to Florida where they were filming. I gotta have a passport to get in there. But I was supposed to be on that. But other than that, no, I was on Facebook, Trailer Park Boys Facebook page. I made a comment. Now, fake Facebook profilers claimed to be Royal Wells and Mike Smith had responded to my posting. I had stated when they were talking about the states and all that stuff, and I said, I don't think it's a good idea of going down to the United States right now with the tight tensions with the United States and Canada. Now we got a turf war that very well could take place at 25% on tariffs with President Donald Trump and Canada going back and forth. And I said, here's Canada and the U.S. getting ready to go to war, possibly go to war. That's another civil war, which we don't want. I said, I don't think it's a great idea for you guys to go down to the United States right now. And he had agreed. Well, supposedly agreed. But it's not like that Facebook page, that fake Facebook page with Ellen Page. I kept running. Something tells me you're not Ellen Page. You know that? I mean, she started stumbling over the question I asked her, but I said, when you're a celebrity, if you're a well-known celebrity in a certain community, in a certain region, fans are going to copy that individual's pictures from their actual social media accounts. See, some people, not all celebrities, go on social media. I'm on social media, but I had to start a whole new Facebook account because of security issues. I had to restart a new one up, which I didn't care. All right, let's do it again. Let's start it up. And I said, when you're a celebrity, fans will pretend to be somebody that they're not. And I said, I don't know Ellen Page. I'm not a fan of Ellen Page. I can't stand her acting. But I said, I respect her as a person, but her as an actor, it's not my cup of tea. And I said, I had a family member that actually went to Hollywood, William Conrad. I said, he's dead now. But I said, people like you is what they fear. You go on the internet, you pretend to be somebody that you're not. You're doing it for publicity reasons. You're doing it to make money. You're trying to generate money from your fans. You're lying to the fans, and you're trying to create a thing called money. And if you're not careful, if you take too much money, you could have the police banging on your door. Guess what? We got to arrest you because it's fraud. That's what happens. But yeah, I never heard no more from her after that. So I basically went along with her foolishness. I knew it wasn't her from the start. But I said, that's what I said. I shared right there from our family member of mine. He told me, he said, Edo, I did that with a person. I knew they were fake. I just drag it on, see how far it'll go with it before they realize, oh, this person caught on. But when you're dealing with social media, when you're dealing with celebrities, trust me when I tell you, there's a high chance it's not them. So, it is what it is sort of thing. But no, with the segment with Trailer Park Boys, I think they should stick to what they're doing now by making that movie that did with Standing on the Shoulders Kitties that did well because it's only featuring their main actors, which I understand. Somebody asked me about Lucy, and they got pissed off like I did. I'm gonna say something. When she left, it was on the internet, and it stated that she had quit because she was a so-called victim of sexual assault. I guess you could say it. And she said, "Here's Mike Smith, and that's the reason why I quit." And I said, Mike Smith was a guy who was on allegations that was never proven. The victim backed off from the charges, not pursuing through with it. I said, if you're going to point a finger at somebody that you got no proof of because you're going by the voice of people, I said, you worked with this person, you worked with this individual, you no, you ate, you did everything with this person, and you're going to say that about them? I said, she's lucky that Mike Smith didn't sue her. I said she got tangled up with this John DeMeschi. Now she's taking jabs at Mike Smith. And here's Lucy, well, not Lucy, Sarah. She gets involved, helps her out. It's bad enough that Sarah got a black eye now for the longest time. And here's Lucy, now she's taking jabs at Mike Smith. And I said, Lucy, it's like, this is what I was talking to a buddy of mine when we were talking about this. I said, she's in the Air Force. I said, stick with it. How you're not dishonorably discharged, how you're not fired from the military, it's beyond my understanding. Because I got friends that are in the Air Force, in the military, and they had stated, when you are dishonorably discharged, he said, sometimes if it's serious enough, if they fire, that's their way of firing it, dishonorably discharged, they'll throw you in a military jail. And they said, when you're in a military jail, you think the regular jails are bad. They stated the military jails are 100 times worse. And they said that's technically is where Lucy should have went. And here's this John DeMeschi career. She basically assassinated his career. I looked at basically what I'm basically saying here to Lucy. You may want to look at rebuilding your credibility, not taking jabs at people that you got no proof on. Yes, I do believe John DeMeschi assaulted her, but it wasn't at that level. Do you know what that John DeMeschi case reminds me of? I want to tell you what it reminds me of. You remember in Nova Scotia a few years back, there was a Truro police officer that got involved with a questionable individual. Their sexual preferences was that sexual category, BSDM, what the fuck you call it. And I guess it's all about their sexual preferences. They slap, kick, choke the shit out of each other for whatever their desires is. And I said, you know what happened to those people when they were doing that cop and that individual and they're doing their thing? He choked her to the point it got too far and she passed out and she died right there. And here he is, he's on, was it charges of manslaughter? I said, what John DeMeschi has to realize is that's what had happened. Even if Lucy or anybody out there in this world that's involved in that stuff, even if you agree to that, and if you choke your partner to the point that they pass out and they die, your fucking ass is going to jail if you like it or not, even though it was agreed upon because you just killed somebody. And I believe that is what happened with Lucy. I can't even pronounce her last name. Takir, is it Takir? And that John DeMeschi. And how, like I said, she's not sued. I really probably never understand. That's probably a thing in my life that I'll never understand. And here's Sarah going over her way to push to help you out. In my opinion, I truly believe that Sarah was not fully aware of what was taking place with her knowledge. And my advice to Lucy is, if I were you, yeah, you did your movie there with Barry Dunn, but you got a black eye no matter where you go. So my advice to her is, Lucy, is rebuild your credibility, and that will be that. You're in the military, focus on your retirement and all that stuff, and that will be that. Never mind with this controversial crap, because people like me are right there waiting to pick you off with it. But like I said, how John Demeshi never sued her, it's beyond my wild imagination. But, it is what it is. But anyways, that's our segment of Trailer Park Boys with our podcast here. Do we got any more? Oh, fuck. Last month, I was talking earlier in my podcast here, my grandmother passed away at the age of 92. Mine was just gone. We have all her stuff that I gave her, which is quite a bit, on her that's no longer needed because she passed away. And I gave her quite the stuff. Now, this duck basically looks like he's brand new. He's about 15 years old, believe it or not. I gave it to her on Easter. It's actually an Easter gift that I gave her. Every Easter, I gave her all kinds of stuff. And do I got a lot wing on here? Stay up there, you cocksucker. Fuck off. What the fuck's the fucking moose in here for? Here we gave her these guys. Now, some of the stuff is not here because I took it for myself. So what I'm doing with this is what I'm known for doing. I'm known for helping out with charities and stuff. So all this, you see here, is going to be donated to the Ronald McDonald Charity House in Halifax for kids. That's what we're doing. Because my grandmother was like a kid. At the age of 92, well, her whole life, she was like a kid. And she passed away. That's the way she was. So we're going to give all this stuff to charity. And we're going to give to a kid who could use this for comfort. But anyways, it's Adam Conrod doing his Trailer Park Boys podcast segment. We're going to see you later on, and we'll see you on our next podcast.